Okay, got a 1997 Yamaha PW 50 here. Picked it up cheap because it doesn't run, doesn't start. More than likely, I'm thinking, if you can see, oops, this start run switch up here, which is taped up, it's probably something down in there. And I've ordered a new switch for that. I also ordered a choke before I even bothered touching it because the choke is broken, the choke lever. It drips a little bit of oil here and there, but it will not start. So, well, let's take a look and see what's going on. Let's just first try and start it. Start. That feels, that doesn't feel like it's got anything fuel. Sounds like it's trying. Oh, I think that's just the sound of the board hitting. Okay. Sparky time. Let's get that spark plug out. Okay, I don't even know if this is a motorcycle plug because most motorcycle plugs are 18 millimeter. And this is a 13/16, which could be the problem. But a spark plug is a spark plug. If it sparks, it sparks. Doesn't look bad. But it is a BPR 4. A 4. Let's check for spark. Come on, you. No sparky. Let's move that switch around a little bit. Do you see any spark? I don't see any spark. Oh, wait. I see the tiniest little bit. A very weak spark. Just moving that switch around. Yeah. Very, very faint spark. And I don't know if this is the right plug, but we are getting spark. But I really had to wiggle this sucker around. So let's just replace it. We've got the new one. I'll just set you up here. I'll get the new part. And also, I'll be replacing, while I'm at it, this choke here, which is busted. The bottom part is busted, so let's get that front fender off to get to the choke. It's any more than these two Phillips screws, one on either side. Ah, there we go. Okay, let's move you over here. And there's a 3-wire, all these 3 plugs. Let's grab the new one and match it up. We've got the plug and 2 wires, plug and 2 wires, except which one's which? We've got a white and a black. We've got a male and a female. Okay, so we should be fine. And replace this switch up here. And move that so you can see. Let me grab a, what do I need, just a Phillips to get that off? And the brake lever. If you're working on Japanese bikes, get JIL Phillips screwdrivers because they do not strip the Japanese Phillips screws. One. And two. Sorry about that. Neighbor came up the walkway. So let's get the throttle housing off. This rubber is stuck, the rubber boot. There we go. That'll hold the cable in. And I have to take the, no, I don't really need to. The brake arm, no. But I do need to slip the cable out. No, I have to loosen the rear brake cable. Or is that front? Is that front or rear? That's front. I'll loosen that off with the bolt down near the wheel. So I get room to pull this out. Because the new switch came with a new brake lever, oddly enough. I don't know why, but it did. So I've got this entire piece. It's probably been on here since 1997. These little zip ties are reusable, so save them. They work better than a regular zip tie. So there's our wires. 1, 2, and our connector. Okay. Just take the throttle cable out. Come on, other way, other way. Thank you. And there's our new part. It is the same. Like I said, the throttle lever is, it's got the throttle adjustment. Let's see, your kid can't take off. You can adjust how much throttle they get. This was like $30. Actually, I don't even think it was that much on Amazon. And the choke was $15. It wasn't much. But I ordered them way back when I got the bike, which was a while ago. Okay, I'm just going to rehook up this cable and back, because it's going to be fiddly. You got to feed it in while the throttle, well, you put the throttle handle in and feed it back into this little hole here, and it's just fiddly, and you're gonna hate me for holding you up while I'm doing it because I haven't slackened off the throttle, of course. Why would I? Anyway, back in a second. I'm just going to get this hooked up. Okay, bit of synthetic grease on the handlebar, inside on the inside of the throttle where it meets inside of the housing here, and a bit on the cable. Make sure it spins freely before you put it in. Oops, come on, there we go. You have to have it in the right position because there's two little stoppers on here. See that little stop right there? That's for the screw, so when that comes forward, this screw, if you turn it all the way in, it won't allow the throttle be turned very far, and that's how you adjust so your kid can't go completely mental on the bike. Only partially mental. We were all kids once. We know what you do. You crack the throttle and see what happens. And if you expect your kid to not do that, well, okay. Pop the screws back in to hold this in place. Make sure the wiring isn't pinched. Just to keep it from falling off. Where'd the other screw go? Hey. Huh. There we go. Okay, let's get the brake lever. Actually, first, the brake lever doesn't really matter at the moment. Let's plug this in. And we have male to female, male to female. Okay. Now these bikes, if you haven't worked on one before, have a 3-position switch. I haven't tightened this down. They have a start and then a run. It will not rev when you start it, so it won't rev out, so the kid doesn't kickstart the bike and go taking off down the street. So it won't rev the crap out of itself. Then you hit run, and now you get throttle, and you've got off. So let's go to start, and we will try this again and see if we get any spark. We had spark last time, a very weak spark. I had to really fool around with the switch to get it to spark. Oops, it's a little bright sunlight out here now, so it might not spark as well. Let's zoom you in so you can see. Hopefully get it somewhere where you can see. I'll try and get it in the shadow back there. Nothing. Just trying to stay out of your way while doing this at the same time, which is sometimes the hardest thing to do. Damn it. Okay, I'm just going to hold you here. Oh, we're getting spark. Doesn't seem to be any better than last time. I know there's fuel in the tank. God knows what it's like. And I do not know if this is the correct spark plug. BPR 4HS. I'm sure somebody out there that's got a PW 50 is screaming yes it is, or no it's not. I don't know. I had a PW years ago, but I do not remember the spark plug. I'm not a savant. Okay, it's still in the start position. Fuel is on. Don't know if fuel is getting to the carburetor. Actually, let's just check that first. I haven't even bothered to choke. But let's just open the petcock float bowl on the bottom and see if any fuel. Is there an overflow down there? Yeah, there is. Oh, yeah, there's fuel. We have fuel. It's not stinky. And someone's put a Tygon line on here. So someone's played with this at some point. Okay, fuel is on. Well, let's kick it again. Let's try and pull. See the choke? There's a mount on the bottom that clips in between. This little clip on the frame right here. This is supposed to clip in and pinch, and it doesn't. It screws in, but it's stripped. The bolt is stripped, so it just doesn't grab. Guess that's as much choke as I'm going to get. Let's try that. Whoa. Let's try and not knock this off the table. Okay, we know we have fuel in the carb, and we know we have spark. We do have fuel, correct? Yes, we do. Okay. Let's check the air filter, which is underneath the seat, I believe. And that would be these two little bolts. Screws down there. I think they're 10s. I believe that's all holding it on. Or all that is holding it on. Find out in 2 seconds. One. Oh, there it is. 2. And that is it. There's splash shield. Okay, and there's our air box intake. Oh. Oh, we've got something disconnected there. So if there's a vacuum leak, that's probably oil injection. I don't see an oil injector line. This is oil injected. There's an oil tank up front. That can come off. Oh, that is there's an oil line right here. These are great little bikes if you've never worked on a bike before. These things, the Suzuki PWs, what do they call the PW? The PW. And the Yamaha PW are both, and the Kawasaki. The Kawasaki is the same as the Suzuki. They're very easy to work on. There's almost nothing you can break. So this is oil pump here. And that is an oil, I'm assuming the oil line goes there because it would be a vacuum feed. This doesn't seem long enough. Does it go around the bottom? Yes, it does. Yep. Air filter looks fine. Let's Don't go falling off. So you can see the throttle inside there moving up and down. It is, it's not stuck. It seems awfully far open. Let me get a light so you can see in there. You see inside the throat of the carb? Can you see in that? I believe you can. Let me zoom you in. And you can see the throttle slide. Now, I think it should be closed a little more than that. So, adjust it. Oh, I have a delivery. Back in 1 sec. Oh, Amazon showed up. Just delivery as usual. So this is your throttle here. This will control how far the throttle's initial opening is. So I think that's too high. It should be. It's not coming down. Is that cable stuck? No? It doesn't seem to be. Coming down far enough. Oh, there it goes. Now it's dropped down. Let's just pop this throttle and choke mount off and see what's going on under there. That's the oil feed line. Yeah. I don't know if this is actually, until I get it running, I have no idea whether the oil pump works. That should be the choke. Let's clean that off. So throttle slide and pin. There's 2 springs. Can you see that? A doubled up spring inside the choke, which doesn't seem normal to me. I don't believe they would ever put a double spring in there. Unless, why would you do that? So all this little plunger does is when it's down, it blocks off a fuel port that comes in the side. And when you pull the choke, it pops up and lets the fuel come through. So someone thought this was over-fueling at some point, I would think. Yeah, there's no way there would be 2 springs in there. That's just, that's not the way we do stuff. Let me get these 2 springs untangled. I'll be back in a second. When I'm pulling that spring apart, I was thinking about why someone would do that, because someone obviously went in there and did that. I'm betting because that choke cable was unable to close and because of the mount being broken. XL Joy. This is the new choke cable. So I'm betting they put that in there because the choke wasn't pulling itself back down and closed and staying open. Yeah, there was no spring on it. Okay, that makes sense. Not a lot. I mean, I don't want to, you wouldn't just replace the damn cable when it's a couple of bucks. But anyway, let's pull this cable out. So if we're going to fix the spring, we might as well put the new cable choke in. Which way does this rubber slide off? No jokes. Okay, so let's just strip that full old cable, pull it right out. Where is it? Zip tied. 1 minute. Just have to snip a cable tie that someone's got up in the front. This should pull straight out of here. There we go. Do I have to take the nut off? That's an adjuster for the choke for the length of it. I need an 8mm to get that off. No. That shouldn't unscrew from there. That cable should come out of there. Let me zoom you in so you can see. The little ferrule on the end is not going through the tube, which it should. There we go, I think. There we go. So the adjuster doesn't have to be off. Let's pull this rubber off because the new one I don't think came with a rubber on the end. And it'll also make it easier to slide all the way out. Same thing, except it's a pull instead of one of those detent levers. There we go. Just slide that out from the front, hopefully. Always take note of where the cables route, because a lot of time it's not 100% obvious. This one goes down under the fork. Let's make sure this is the right length, which it 99% is. So feed that back through. I'll feed this cable through, and you don't want to watch that because it's going to take a minute. Okay, on this new choke lever here, I unscrewed the cap, and there was a little spring that went pew. You see inside that little hole right where my thumb is, there's a ball bearing, and there's a little spring that held that in tension. I'll just cover it up so I don't lose it, so that the detents here on the choke, the little ball bearing would push into the detents and hold it in place, whichever place you had it in, against the spring of the little choke plunger, the spring on it. The original one didn't need that because it was one of these style that would hold itself in place, right, against the spring tension. Yeah, so that little spring, needless to say, went pew and is gone. So we are now in the process of going through a bag of rando springs that I happen to have Oops. Come on, tripod tighten. Sorry. And I'm going to try and find something small enough to fit in that hole. You can buy these off of Amazon for like, I don't know, $5-8. You can see in the bottom, there's a bunch of little tiny suckers in the bottom there, which I'm going to dig for. And I'm going to cut one. Aha, aha. That is about the right size. And there's two types of springs. There's compression springs that spring when you push on them. And there's tension springs that spring when you pull on them. This is a compression spring. That's what we're looking for. That one's not very sturdy, but we're gonna see if it fits in that little hole. And if it does, we're gonna cut a little chunk off, stuck it in the hole, and not unscrew that cap again. And I'll be back when I'm done with that silliness. Okay, that was fun. Getting that little spring into that hole. But now we've got detent, detent, detent off. Now we can get back to actually putting the choke back on where we were 20 minutes ago. Actually, I might have let's try and replace that spring that wasn't quite springy enough. We'll be back in a second once I find an appropriate spring. Okay, looking at this carb spring, it snapped in half and worked itself together. This is 2 halves of one spring. So I'm gonna have to find something that is that length and that strength. I'll be back in a sec. I can't tell you how many times this little spring kit has saved my life. Dead on the same length and like within 1/4 millimeter in diameter. This one's a tiniest bit smaller, but it does fit over top of the plunger for the choke. Well, we are getting oily dripping back here. Where's that coming from? Worry about that later. Where's that choke cable? Okay, pull this sucker through. The rubber grommet that went around that, where did that go? Let's put this air filter screw back in. Right screw would help. Good God. Get out of there. Now, where did that little rubber sleeve go? Do you see it sitting on the table somewhere and you're not telling me? I don't see it. Yes, I do. Rubber sleeve. Let's stick that back around. So now we're gonna put this all the way in so we can get as much cable as we can in there. I'll feed this down through. Watch it's, there we go. Now, how much room do we have? About 1 inch. This choke is all the way in. I'm not gonna have a lot work with here. So what needs to happen is this cable needs to go in there, but the spring needs to go in first. So I need to keep this spring. Is there a better way to do this? No, not really. Not going to be easy. Wow. Gotta find a way to lengthen this a little tiny bit. And I don't have any more length. That's as long as she goes. That's all the way in. Maybe this spring is the tiniest bit longer than the old one. I don't think so. Excuse my sniffling. It's only like 4 degrees out. Yeah, it is one coil longer. So I'm gonna have to snip it. Come on, you. Cut. There we go. So the fun is compressing that spring while getting this far enough to get the little ferrule into the hole. Once that's done, you're good. If I have the tiniest bit more cable, I could do this easier. The cable is completely seated all the way. So I'm just gonna have to fight it on. I will be back in a few minutes after the fight is complete. Actually, if I squeeze this top the tiniest little bit, I can get it further up inside around where the cable goes, and it'll fit in there a little better. What the hell is on the radio? Has this been in the background the whole time, guys? I'm turning this off. Okay, I compressed it the tiniest little bit, squished it the tiniest little bit at the tip. Let's hope it goes in there. If I had 3 hands, this would be easy. I don't believe I have 3 hands. So, come on, you. Come on. Come on. Slip in. Yes. Ha. You thought you could beat me. Okay, so we'll pull the choke cable, and you can see how it, if I can reach it, pulls up against the spring. If I could pull it from here. Make sure it doesn't pop off while I do this. That spring is too tight. Oh, there we go. It's pulling up. Doesn't want to pull up very far though. See, I have no way of knowing whether that spring that was in there was the original one. It seems a little bit strong to me for a choke spring. Because these little detents cannot hold it. So I am going to, executive decision, put a lighter weight spring in there. something slightly lighter. That one's not as strong. Let's try that. Once it fits down in the barrel, which it does. And fits around the end, the tip of this, which it does. Pulling the choke. Yeah, it'll stay in position. Okay, and throttle is moving properly. Okay, so let's stick this back in. This is the guide slot on the side. There'll be a little pin in there, guide for this. That is the throttle ramp. So, oh no, oh no. Is that kosher or no? Kosher or no-sure? No, it's not. This is the secondary, this is the cable that branches off from the throttle cable, so when you give it more throttle, this pulls on the little lever in here and allows more oil to be injected in the injector. Yeah, I ran the choke cable over top of it instead of under it. So, get over. Get out of there. Supposed to go under, I believe. Yeah, it should. I don't see why that would go over it. Or would it? Remember when I said, watch where your cables come from? No, it goes over. Okay. This is supposed to be under, so the cable routing going back, there we go. Let me put that back on. Won't make you watch this. Okay, cable back in. So now we're just going to align the pins. Again, the ramp pin should line up straight up and down with the throttle stop screw. I've pulled on these two cables the tiniest bit, so I got to pull them forward. And then the plunger for the choke goes into that little hole in the back. And they should slide up and down nicely. A lot of times you have to spin the throttle one till you feel it grab where it's supposed to go. Not there. Don't force it, it will go straight down when it is on position, which it should be right about there. There we go. Let's put this little screw back in. Our choke is feeling and working properly. I don't feel like it can pull as far as it should. We'll test that later. Well, let's just put the choke on. And we know we have fuel, and we know we're not dripping out of the carb, so the carb is not leaking. We do have fuel going in. The fuel line is on. We've checked, and there's fuel coming out. We do have a spark. We're on start. hopefully that choke does push down all the way and block off that little port, the little fuel port, when it goes all the way down. That could have been a problem too. Oops. Okay, we're sparking, we're airing, we're fueling, but no starting. Let's get some starter fluid, see what happens. By starter fluid, I mean propane. I use propane because I don't like, starter fluids are not good for the inside of, they'll wash all the oil off the inside of your cylinders. They're not good for it. Propane will not. Burns very clean, ignites quickly. Falls down easily. Still nothing. We are in start. Oh, we have not. Did we check and see that there was spark with the new switch on? I think we did. Choke is off, hopefully. There's no fuel leaking, so we're not overflowing. I don't smell fuel, so I don't think. So it's, now our only possibility of fuel is not getting into the engine. So I'm going to choke it off with my thumb. That will force fuel to be sucked in. So it is creating vacuum and sucking fuel. Now, maybe I was wrong in this. Throttle needs to be opened a bit more. Try propane again. My bet is that spark plug is the wrong one. I don't know. I didn't know. I don't think that is the correct spark plug though. Let me clean up some stuff because I'm starting to make a mess, and I'll be back in a sec. Sorry, where did we leave off? Spark plug. Let's pull that sucker out again. What did I do with my socket wrench that I had? See if we're still getting spark. Plug's wet now. As it's darker, we can see a spark. Oh, hey, look at, yeah, you can see. Yeah, let's zoom in a tiny bit just in case. Ow. Okay, we're sparking. We are sparking. So we should be starting. It does smell like fuel. The plug smells like fuel. This fuel didn't stink, so it should still have some octane left in it. And if not, the propane should have ignited. try you again with some propane. Throttle a bit so some propane can get in there. Was it me, or did that sound like it was going to start for a second there? Okay, choke is on again. Let's try choke and propane. There's always a mechanical possibility. It sounds like there's compression. It feels like there's compression. But again, it's very hard to check compression on a tiny two-stroke engine. Feel the exhaust. Yeah, it's pushing out. Yep. You can feel it blowing out the exhaust, so I'll shut the fuel off. Taking the carb off is next, but I don't feel like doing it right yet, so we're gonna just keep trying for a minute. Propane. Woohoo! Let's check the mixture screw, which is here. One. That doesn't seem far enough out. 1/2, 1 1/2, and a quarter more just for fun. Another quarter turn. Whoa, windy, sorry. Was that fun? Did you guys enjoy that? Free ride, no charge. You are hearing that almost starting, aren't you? Same as I am. I know the fuel's off now, but there should be enough in the float bowl to get it running. If the float bowl's full. It's so close. I don't know if I want to take this down or up. So let's go all the way back to the beginning. And 1/2, 1 1/4. Still choked. Let's take the choke off. Well, let's see if it maybe doesn't like having its airbox off. Always a possibility. Locator peg screw. I'm not going to bother screwing it back on. I'm just going to pop it not exactly a lot of things to go wrong with these bikes, to be honest. Oh, I guess I will put the screw in. It wants it. I don't think this little rubber manifold is holding a lot anymore. No, probably not. Open that up a tiny bit more. Oops, did I even get that? It's kicking, I can feel it. When you're hearing it farting. Now let's try choking it again. Come on. Where does everybody want to be? Let's put you in a little bit more. Ha 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 ha. Oops, that's the fuel line. Oh, we have running. Turn up that idle a little bit. Let that sit there and warm up for a second, then we'll do the air fuel mixture. We'll smoothen that out. I think we have it. Maybe that is the right plug. Who knows? Sounds a little bit rattly. It's not the cylinder, that's probably an exhaust. Again, like I said, on that little ignition switch, you have to have it on. If you have it on start, it won't really rev. Not just giving it throttle, nothing. When you have it in run, okay, again, I'm going to let this warm up and then we can adjust air fuel mixture. Actually, before I let it get too warm, let's see if this oil injector is actually pumping oil. I believe the guy said that he was putting premix in here, probably because the oil line was unhooked. Now we're getting an air leak. This should pump little drips of oil. Yeah, it's getting oil. And then it just sucks it through this little vacuum line. It sucks the oil in, but the pump will see the oil coming out there? Which is probably why it's a little bit smoky. If he was putting premix oil in there. Well, no, he didn't have this hooked up, so wouldn't have mattered. Okay, it's been humming along here for about 20 minutes, maybe half an hour actually, and no stuttering, no nothing. It's just a lot of smoke, which I'm assuming is the double oiling from the oil injection now, and the premix is probably what's in the tank. So I've just unhooked the oil line. As you can see, it's just going to drip a few drips, nothing I can do about that. But I have to block off that little vacuum port with my finger, or else it will over rev. It's going to start picking up and picking up. It's like getting more air. Oh. A lot of oil on my hand. Now we're just going to adjust the air fuel mixture until it runs best. Start opening it a little bit so it starts getting worse. It's not getting any better. I'm going to go back. It's getting worse. I'm going to open up halfway in between that and where I had it. It's very hard to tell. Right around there. And it is revving good now. We need a bit more air. Counterclockwise. And it's going to smoke and spit until all this oiled gas gets out of it. Notice something else. Plug this line back in. Because over-oiling's not going to kill it. But while it was revving, I noticed the bearing there was... Oh yeah, that's loose. Is it the... Oh yeah, the whole thing is loose. Looks like a 19 millimeter. Tighten that up. Oh, is there a bearing? The center bearing. I'll do that later on. That's not really a big deal. We just wanted to see if we get this running, and we did. Let's see if we can start it up again. Start. Hey, come on. Let's not be like this. I thought we were friends. That over oily mixture is not going to ignite extremely well. throttle's a little low. Again, on start, that's all it will rev. I'm giving it full throttle. On run, so anyway, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. I'm going to just put some training wheels on this, and grandkids can boot around the yard on it. I might be too big. Yeah. No, I'm going to get me on this thing. Once I get some more stuff done to it, the steering head bearing, I will take a boot. Maybe I'll even show you guys, because it's pretty damn funny seeing me on a little bike. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hope this helps somebody. Again, like and subscribe if this kind of stuff appeals to you.